Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you. Another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks. Sampler review series videos I've been doing for a little while now. I go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff. Then, folks, I'm gonna talk about the stuff. I'm gonna let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff. That time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not gonna lie. I'm super happy because I'm doing a late night episode, and it means that most of my hamsters are running around being adorable hamsters. But anyway, folks, it's super simple format. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammering on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside my back room today, which means we get Peter Can Thunderbolt poster. Peter Can Thunderbolt poster. Whilst I'm doing all that, folks, I am doing something else. What is it? I'm wearing a super cool shirt. Folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight the super cool shirt. What super cool shirt am I wearing for today, folks? What happens to be my Son Goku shirt. Yay! I mean, you know, come on now. I don't think DBZ really needs any particular introduction, but if you're unfamiliar, it's pretty much the most popular Japanese anime of all time. I mean, it's really become a global phenomenon. I actually got this shirt a few months ago after the very sad news of Akira Toriyama, the creator, his tragically, young passing. I mean, he was in his 60s, but, like, still, that's way too young. And, yeah, man, that just really kind of hit me, and I didn't even think that it would hit me as hard as it did. Because, these creators are going to pass away eventually. But, it was one of those things where it was like, wow, that hit me harder than I thought, because, I mean, I did grow up with Dragon Ball Z, and yeah, man, so, it felt appropriate to get myself a shirt. But anyway, folks, it's super simple format. I already did all that. This is the second time I'm doing my intro because I screwed it up the first time. We're just going to roll with it this time. But anyway, folks, what are we doing here? What's going on? Well, the kind of neat thing about doing this tonight is, like I said, because normally I don't do a lot of late night reviews, but today in particular, I was hungry and I was like, cool, man, let's opportunity for a review. And if you watch the show, typically if I'm doing something in my back room, that means that I'm reviewing something that is a little bit more involved than something I could just review in my truck. And that's definitely the case today because, folks, what am I trying for you? It happens to be, boom, it's this. It's, Picantia. That's what I'm going with. Picantia. Picantia? One of those things. I apologize for mispronouncing it. But yes, it's an instant noodle ramen thing. It is Cajun shrimp flavored, which is an interesting prospect. I actually did go over there and review another one of their flavors just earlier today. Their jalapeno chicken. So they've got some interesting, interesting flavors that they're going with this. As far as I can tell, this seems to be a fairly new brand. It's certainly not one that I was familiar with up until, I bought it about a week ago. So I figured, what the hell, man. I review instant noodle stuff all the time. I, in fact, have a playlist called Ramen Reviews, which is just instant noodle stuff. Figure we'll give it a go. So let's go ahead. Let's get a thing for the thing. It kind of looks like this. Let's give it a go. And I will say, I mentioned in the jalapeno chicken one that if I was going to go over there and review another one of these, I would go over there and lessen the water content, and that's what I did. I didn't go quite to the fill line. So I'm hoping it kind of imparts a little bit more flavor into the noodles. And I would say that it has. Because, yeah, and mind you, it depends on how you want to do your instant noodles. I don't even mind, like, a brothier noodle, but a lot of times I like to go over there, dial it back a little bit, focus more on the noodles than, and just kind of let the broth really kind of soak in, get into the noodles. And I definitely feel like this is the case with this. Because these are definitely some well-seasoned noodles. You know, they have quite a bit of, you know, herbs and spices and stuff in them. And I personally feel like, you know, I don't want that to be just relegated to the broth, you know, so I definitely want more noodle heavy on this one. And I think it worked out really nicely. The noodles themselves are really nice consistency, no complaints there. Uh, and then, yeah, just, it's got, definitely has sort of a little bit of a kick to it. In fact, I would say, you know, despite it being, you know, Cajun versus jalapeno, I'd say it's probably about as spicy as the jalapeno, but just in a slightly different way. Only problem I'm running into with these, because they are tasty, but I'm not really getting a lot in the way of shrimp flavor. I feel like this is one of those things where the Cajun aspect, you know, the spices and seasonings they're using, it's doing like 90% of the work. Whereas, you know, that sort of shrimp, you know, sort of seafood flavor, it's very much on the tail end. Like, you get a little bit of it, but I wish they would have allowed that to sort of be highlighted a little bit more, because, you know, I mean, that's part of the reason why you're getting it. Um, yeah, it's there, but it's under everything else. Okay. I mean, I like it. It's pretty good. I don't think I like it as much as I like the jalapeno chicken. Because with the jalapeno chicken, I feel like not only was I getting the nice jalapeno taste from it, but on top of that, I was still tasting, you know, like the chicken aspect of the broth. I feel like that was more defined than in this with, you know, again. And, you know, maybe that does come down to just the cooking thing, because, again, maybe I, you know, went a little bit under the fill line. Maybe that made a difference. I don't know. But I do still like it. It's tasty. But two questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? I think I'm going to go with yes and yes. I think in both instances, you know, I think for me personally, it works out nicely. It is one of these bigger bowls. Excuse me. It's very simple to prepare. For somebody like me who, you know, after a long, you know, day at work, a lot of times, man, I cannot be fucked to go over there and make a bunch of food when I get home, you know. Just the prep and the cleanup and everything. It's just a little bit too much hassle. So things like this work really nicely for me when, you know, I just want something quick and easy. And so when I am going off of something like this, it's what can I get that's easy, filling, and also hopefully tastes good. And this does all of those things. Although, like I said, because I feel it's lacking that shrimp flavor, this wouldn't be like a go-to for me. I think that whereas the jalapeno chicken, that one I was really kind of into. This one I like. I could see getting it on occasion, but again, it's not going to become like a personal favorite or anything. If I'm recommending it to people, though, you know, this is kind of one of those things where it's like, who am I recommending it to, right? Am I recommending it to people like me who are really just sort of, you know, using it as basically a meal substitute? Or am I doing it for people who are probably a little bit, have their shit together a little bit more, if we're just being honest, who, you know, maybe aren't using it for a meal substitute, but, you know, maybe just for like a lunch or, you know, just like I guess technically it's a meal substitute, but they're using it more casually in their life. And I think that in both instances, it actually does work nicely. It might be a little bit heavy for a more casual person, but like the flavors are there. It's simple prep. You know, the level of spice, like I said, there's a little kick to it, but it's nothing substantial. So I think all things considered, and I mean, I guess it depends on, you know, what you're expecting out of the shrimp flavor, because that really is the only part that I found to be disappointing. You know, if that's something you're really looking for, might be disappointed. Or conversely, if you're somebody who, you know, maybe you just want that Cajun flavor, it does have that. So, anyway, 5 things, excuse me, 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your year. Folks, go over there, have yourselves a truly Cajun-tastic rest of your life. I really want to review some Cajun food for the show, but unfortunately, all of the places that I've looked into that are in sort of like my immediate vicinity, yeah, they don't typically get the best ratings. And, like, I'm willing to overlook that to a certain extent, but it's like, I don't know, man, you know. So, I think that's one of those things I'm going to have to go into the city, you know, to find some proper stuff. But we'll see. Or, you know, go, like, to actual Cajun country. But, unless the sampler platter starts suddenly making me a lot of money, I don't think I'm going to be making that trek anytime soon. Final two things. Number one, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do can't do it all the time. I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Folks, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. And when we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important we go over there whenever possible. Take a step back. Try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives. Hopefully, do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, what's your personal take on Cajun food? Is it something you've experienced, you know, something that you really love, something you're just not into? I'd be really interested to hear your opinions on it. Like, I've certainly had it to some extent, but not to what I would ever regard as being like a proper extent. And it's one of those things where it's like, you know, obviously it's a very famous cuisine, and I really, really would like to, like I said, you know, but I want to, especially if it's going to be like my first real outing into a proper experience with it, you know, I want to go to like a really solid place. So, like I said, you know, I don't know, maybe I'll try out one of the ones in the area, but I'd like to hit up a really proper place first. But what do you think about all that? Anyway,